the headlines of this hour on VTV News. State President highlights message about trust in a bright future at APEC CEO Summit 2024. And a conference clarifies concept of a rising era for Vietnam. In our world news, according to the World Bank, Israel-Hezbollah conflict cost Lebanon $8.5 billion.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. State President Luong delivered a message about maintaining firm confidence in a bright future while addressing the 2024 Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC CEO Summit as part of his attendance at the APEC Economic Leaders Week in Lima on Thursday morning local time. More in the following.
A keynote speaker, the Vietnamese state president, emphasized that APEC provides an essential platform for reflection, dialogue, and the creation of an economic governance system that underpins the growth of the member economies. To fulfill the shared objectives, he urged member economies to focus on 4 key priorities. Firstly, they must ensure a peaceful and stable international environment that nurtures global trade and investment. Secondly, it is essential to ensure that every nation and individual have equal access to opportunities. Thirdly, the member economies must develop comprehensive solutions for transitioning to clean, green energy. Lastly, it is necessary to ensure that disruptive technologies are developed and applied responsibly and inclusively.
No one can deny that only when trade is promoted and connected, and people are involved and benefit from it, can there be development and prosperity. On the contrary, protectionism will only lead to recession, conflict, and poverty. The world is facing great upheavals and the risks of protectionism, fragmentation, and decoupling. APEC once again needs to shoulder the responsibility of promoting cooperation among its members, jointly build a transparent, equitable international economic governance system that ensures balanced benefits for all.
The state leader affirmed that Vietnam is entering into a new era with a renewed mindset propelled by a strong aspiration to become a prosperous and contented nation, backed by unwavering confidence in a bright future.
We will participate responsibly and contribute actively to world politics, the global economy, and human civilization. The significant success of Vietnam's economy is largely due to the trust that businesses and international investors have placed in our country. I hope that you will continue to accompany Vietnam on the journey ahead. I also affirm that Vietnam's vigorous growth will unlock new opportunities for both domestic and international enterprises across a diverse range of sectors, including commerce, industry, agriculture, tourism, infrastructure, logistics, and high-tech industries.
Concluding his speech, the state president stressed that APEC must once again embrace its vital role as a bridge that connects and promotes cooperation among its members.
Also on the same day, State President Luong received leaders and representatives of several business delegations. The meetings were within the framework of his official visit to the Latin American country and his attendance at the APEC Economic Leaders Week. More in the following.
Whilst meeting a delegation from the U.S. APEC Business Coalition in Lima, the state president highlighted that cooperation between Vietnam and the U.S. has continuously expanded and developed remarkably, nearly 3 decades after the normalization of their relations. And more than a year, the relationship was elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Representatives of the Business Coalition noted that Vietnam's collection of feedback from both domestic and foreign businesses, including those from the U.S., to several new laws that have been enacted or are in the process of being drafted, is highly commendable. They also committed to continuing to expand production and business activities. Participants also expressed their hope for continuous attention from the Vietnamese state president, government, ministries, and sectors to have effective production and business in the country.
After meeting with the U.S. Business Coalition, the state president received leaders of several outstanding businesses of Peru. Speaking highly of the remarkable progress and dynamism of Vietnam's economy, they said that the two sides can fully complement each other in striving for a sustainable and prosperous future, and expressed their hope to learn more about the Vietnamese market and seek potential partners for collaboration in areas where both countries have strengths. The state president reaffirmed Vietnam's commitment to creating a favorable business and investment environment for foreign investors in general, and for Peruvian companies in particular, to cooperate and invest effectively and sustainably in the country.
State President Luong met with Sultan of Brunei at Jerusalem, Hassan al-Bolkiah, on the sidelines of the APEC Economic Leaders Week in Lima. The state president agreed to strengthen collaboration in priority areas, including oil and gas, chemicals, halal food processing, and tourism and people-to-people exchange. He called on Brunei to support Vietnamese firms with production processes, grant certifications for Vietnamese agricultural and halal products, and create favorable conditions for Vietnamese halal goods to enter Brunei's market and integrate into the global halal supply chain. The Sultan of Brunei agreed to enhance cooperation with Vietnam, including considering the extension of the Memorandum of Understanding on the Fisheries Hotline and facilitating fishing permits for Vietnamese vessels in Brunei's waters. Brunei affirmed its support for Vietnam's hosting of the second ASEAN Future Forum, AFF, in 2025 and APEC chairmanship in 2027. State President Luong met with Mayor of Peru's capital, Lima, Rafael Lopez Aliaga, as part of his official visit to the country. The state president suggested that Lima, as Peru's capital, plays a leading role in promoting the two countries' multifaceted cooperation. He suggested Lima create conditions for Vietnamese businesses to participate in digital transformation and smart city projects. On this occasion, the municipal administration awarded State President Luong the token key to the city in recognition of his role in fostering a robust, sustainable partnership between the two countries. The state president affirmed that it highlights Peru's friendship with Vietnam, especially on the 30th anniversary of their diplomatic ties. Now, continuing its 39th meeting on Friday, the National Assembly Standing Committee basically supports the revised law on notarization and proposes two options on notary liability insurance, mandatory insurance, or requiring notary organizations to purchase it. Regarding the draft law on geology and minerals, the Standing Committee agreed on mineral classification and licensing principles, but needs a ballot on exploitation licenses. Some propose regulating two fees for exploitation and mine closure appraisals. Discussing the data law, the National Assembly Standing Committee broadly agreed to establish the National Data Development Fund with clearer stipulations on thrift, transparency, and avoiding budget duplication. On data exchange, it was agreed to outline only the framework and principles, with detailed regulations to be determined by the government. A national conference was held in Hanoi on Friday to illuminate the thesis of a new era for the Vietnamese nation. The conference saw the participation of leading scientists, experts, and theorists and aimed to clarify concepts, policies, strategies, and development directions of this new era.
The idea of a new rising era for Vietnam, which was introduced by Party General Secretary To Lam, was highlighted by the recent 10th plenum of the Party's Central Committee as a strategic direction for Vietnam's development in the coming decades.
The first step is to reform the party. The party must lead by pioneering its own organizational and operational reforms. If the party does not take the lead in renewing itself to guide the renewal process, it will be difficult to generate the momentum needed for society. Reforms must focus on reorganizing the party's structure with an emphasis on renewing leadership.
Participants also stressed the need for an emphatic breakthrough in the development system to remove bottlenecks and barriers. Policymaking process must place people and businesses at their center. Digital transformation is seen as the key lever to propel the country toward remarkable development.
In the digital technology era, science and technology are crucial determinants for the rapid and sustainable development of all nations. If we do not seize this opportunity and make adequate investments, we will fall behind.
After the conference, feedback was directed into the process of drafting documents for the party's 14th National Congress.
The phrase, "a rising era for Vietnam," embodies a burning aspiration, encouraging people to devote their utmost efforts. These discussions also contribute to theoretical developments and the practical steps for implementation. It helps spread awareness and encourage party members and the public to take concrete actions.
Vietnam is shaping a new era based on 5 foundational pillars, namely a modern, socialist-oriented market economy, a democratic, equitable, civilized society with strong governance, a united, self-reliant, and culturally enriched nation, modern defense, security, and comprehensive diplomacy, and a streamlined, efficient political system.
Coming up next on VTV News. Mekong Delta Startup Forum fosters green growth. A National Environmental Protection Planning Project announced. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, the second Mekong Delta Startup Forum 2024 officially kicked off on Friday in Dong Thap province. The event marks a significant turning point for Dong Thap and other provinces in the Mekong Delta region, fostering business connections and building a solid foundation for public-private partnerships, innovation, and regional development.
According to the organizers, the Mekong Delta is home to nearly 60,000 active enterprises, with an average of 400 to 500 startup projects launched annually. As Vietnam's largest agricultural production area, the region contributes approximately 1/3 of the country's agricultural GDP. However, it faces severe challenges from climate change, necessitating an urgent economic transformation. Agricultural restructuring, centered on sustainability and innovation, is a critical priority.
Dong Thap has pledged to pioneer in sustainable solutions and emission reductions while encouraging the creation of collaborative innovation ecosystems. These efforts are seen as key to driving major Mekong Delta's economic development goals.
A key highlight of this year's event is a set of initiatives to establish the Mekong Delta Green Transformation Network, aimed at strengthening public-private collaboration, promoting sustainable development, and advancing green solutions to environmental challenges. The opening day also saw the grand finale of the Mekong Initiative Competition 2024, the first of its kind, to seek innovative solutions for the region's green economy. 10 outstanding projects made it to the final round, showcasing creative ideas in green agriculture, ecotourism, and environmentally friendly recycling.
Our competing project featured pallets made entirely from rice husks sourced in Dong Thap and coconut coir from Bến Tre. The product, designed by an all-Vietnamese team, is intended for use in cold storage and export logistics. After its cycle, the pallet decomposes into organic fertilizer, contributing to a sustainable product cycle and extending its utility.
We're advocating for green growth and sustainable actions in the Mekong Delta. This forum is an opportunity to learn from innovative models and strategize new directions. Moreover, we can connect ecosystems to create a sustainable green development network for the region.
A A standout feature of the Mekong Delta Startup Forum 2024 is the exhibition of outstanding startup products and green economy-oriented innovations in the Mekong Delta. The showcase highlights products aligned with key regional value chains, including lotus rice, crawfish, and mango.
The global Muslim tourism market is projected to reach $330 billion by 2025. Now, despite its rich tourism assets, Vietnam has yet to fully tap into the supply chain and services for this growing demographic. Currently, the country hosts only about 1.5 million Muslim tourists annually. Now, what obstacles are hindering the growth of this market in Vietnam? And what steps has the country taken to address these challenges and attract more Muslim visitors? The following report will tell you more.
According to several businesses and travel agencies involved in the Muslim tourism market, Vietnam faces a shortage of restaurants and hotels that meet halal standards, limiting the appeal of the destination for Muslim travelers.
The primary language among Muslim tourists is Arabic, and they require halal certified food. Currently, most tourist areas have only one halal restaurant, so options are quite limited.
Another challenge is the lack of resources to train staff in Islamic language, culture, and beliefs, which limits our ability to cater to these guests fully.
At present, only 2 centers in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City offer Arabic training. This means that popular destinations like Sapa, as well as more distant locations such as Da Nang or Dalat, often lack Arabic-speaking guides.
Aware of these limitations, Vietnam is actively working to address the gaps in services and facilities for Muslim tourists. Efforts are underway to establish standards and certifications for service providers, ensuring compliance with halal requirements from cuisine to specific amenities.
The government also have established the Halal National Center. I think this also the good signal for all of the halal bodies have to register and under one umbrella. This is to proving the trustable with the halal market.
The hospitality industry now clearly understands here in Vietnam that they need to provide halal products. They need to provide the certification that goes with this, and I think appropriate signage, etc. And above all, the training of the team on the understanding of what these products are and how we serve these to our guests.
Muslims make up nearly a quarter of the global population, and Vietnam is becoming an increasingly popular destination for Muslim tourists from regions such as the Middle East, India, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Statistics from the Vietnam National Administration of Tourism indicate that approximately 1.5 million halal tourists visited Vietnam in 2023.
The National Environmental Protection Planning Project for the 2021 to 2030 period, with a vision to 2050, was announced on Friday by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. The project emphasizes a consistent principle of not trading off the environment for economic development, but respecting natural rules and promoting a sustainable growth model built on a green economy, circular economy, and low-carbon economy. The plan outlines objectives in 4 key areas: environmental zoning, nature conservation, waste treatment, and environmental monitoring. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment is collecting feedback on the draft project, which will be submitted to the Prime Minister for approval and guidance to localities. Now, in one of the most challenging localities of Hoa Binh Province, a teacher has quietly spent 19 years ferrying students across the river to school. This labor of love began not as a temporary effort, but as a lifelong commitment to ensuring children in her village do not lose their chance at education. Under this noble mission lies her deeper aspiration of transforming lives and uplifting her community.
Day after day, teacher Nu witnessed the struggles of students navigating difficult routes on their way to school, some even on the verge of dropping out. She began rowing students to school in wooden boats. Over the years, this effort transitioned from manual rowing to operating motorboats. Her dedication never wavered.
No matter the position I hold, I am always this land's daughter. As long as I have the strength to contribute, I will do everything in my power to support these children.
Her determination has inspired more teachers to help with students' transportation. Moreover, the local authorities in Dapak district is constructing a road to connect Nyap village to the commune center, breaking the long-standing reliance on river travel.
This new road, funded through various resources, is expected to ease students' journeys to school, and facilitate socioeconomic development in that village.
Nu's selflessness earned her recognition in the national program Ho Chi Minh Journey of Aspiration, honoring individuals who exemplify President Ho Chi Minh's ideology.
We have seen countless quiet yet powerful examples fueling Vietnam's aspirations for growth in a new era. There are so many of them in any given locality.
Through humble boat rides, dozens of children have been able to pursue their dreams of education. And as the new road nears completion, these dreams are set to reach greater heights.
The National Museum of Fine Arts launched the Silk Collection, Awakening the Contestant, Extending the Heritage, opened on Friday, inspired by 9 national treasures. The collection features áo dài and silk scarves with outstanding designs like Legend, inspired by painter Nguyễn Tư Nghiêm Gióng, and Song Lâu Chầu Nhật, based on the 17th century wooden door carved with dragons at Keo Pagoda in Taiping Province, or Youth, inspired by painter Tô Ngọc Vân's 2 young women and a child. The collection blends cultural heritage with contemporary creativity, bringing traditional art closer to younger audiences. Coming up next in our world news, China and Peru unveil a 10K port in Peru. And according to the World Bank, Israel-Hezbollah conflict cost Lebanon $8.5 billion. Now moving on to our world news, Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Peruvian counterpart Dina Boluarte on Thursday inaugurated a new $1.3 billion megaport in Peru's coastal city of Chancay, and that was built and funded by Chinese shipping giant COSCO. The megaport of Chancay, located about 80 kilometers north of Peruvian capital of Lima, is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative and will be the first smart port in South America. Upon completion, the massive deep-water port is poised to become a major gateway to the oceans and a crucial hub in the South Pacific Ocean region. It is expected to reduce shipping times between Peru and China from 35 to 25 days, while cutting logistics costs by at least 20%. Chancay Port is expected to generate $4.5 billion in annual revenue for Peru and directly create more than 8,000 jobs. Apple is facing a $3.8 billion legal claim over accusations of anti-competitive practices against 40 million users. The UK Consumer Rights Association, which is pursuing legal action against Apple, saying the US tech giant locked millions of customers into its cloud storage service. It claimed that Apple breached UK competition law by trapping customers with Apple devices into using its iCloud storage service, making it difficult for users to use alternative providers and use its market dominance to charge rip-off prices. Monthly iCloud subscriptions for UK consumers increased from 20% to 29% in June 2023. The World Bank estimates the damage caused by the Hezbollah-Israel conflict in Lebanon at about $8.5 billion, with a series of important sectors severely affected. The World Bank said in a Thursday report that Lebanon faces estimated economic losses of $5.1 billion over 12 months, driven primarily by heavy impacts on commerce, tourism, and agriculture. Direct physical damage in Lebanon amounts to at least $3.4 billion. The World Bank also expected final figures to be significantly higher than the conflict continues. The analysis projects Lebanon's real GDP will contract by at least 6.6% in 2024 due to the conflict. India's capital of New Delhi has become the world's most polluted capital city. Now, in a bid to combat the increasingly hazardous air, it officially banned all non-essential construction, moved younger children to virtual classrooms, and asked residents to avoid using coal and wood. More on this series of efforts in the following story.
The new measures, which include sprinkling water with dust suppressants on roads, as well as mechanized sweeping that would help settle dust, will come into effect from Friday morning. They also include a ban on non-essential construction and an appeal to citizens to use more public transport and avoid using coal and wood for heating, without saying how long the measures would be in place.
The private construction and demolition activities have been banned. This also includes activities such as boring, drilling and digging, and filling of mud. There is a ban on piling, explosion, fly ash-related activities. Digging for sewage, drains, water, and electrical lines through open trench system is also not allowed.
New Delhi's air quality level reached 539 on Friday, according to live rankings by IQ Air, that has disrupted flights and obscured the Taj Mahal. The city battles smog, a toxic mix of smoke and fog, every winter as cold air traps dust, emissions, and smoke from illegal farm fires.
The Delhi Transport Corporation has launched 106 electric shuttle bus services to increase the public transport in Delhi.
Around 38% of the pollution in New Delhi this year has been caused by stubble burning, a practice where stubble left after harvesting rice is burnt to clear fields in the neighboring states of Punjab and Haryana.
Now, as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.